Hey gearheads, and welcome to Garage Talk. I'm Corey and this is the Honda Ridgeline. In this video, I'm going to go through all of the things that make this midsize pickup truck so unique. Stay tuned. Starting under the hood of the Honda Ridgeline, you get Honda's 3.5 liter V6, making 280 horsepower and 262 pound-feet of torque. It is mated to a 9-speed automatic transmission and does the work very nicely for what most people are going to want this pickup truck to do. Now, I will note that you actually have a prop rod for holding the hood up, so a few cost-saving measures there, but when you drop the hood down, you can actually see the new updated styling for Honda pickup trucks. That's right, for 2021, Honda changed up the front end of the Ridgeline, and this look will transcend to all of their pickup trucks and is a much more rugged and masculine front end than the one it replaces from when the Ridgeline was brought up to this current body style in 2017. You can see updated lights, incandescent turn signals actually down low and here in the grille as well, and then you have fog lights down here. All told, it is a very handsome look when you look at it from the front. Now, while that new updated front end styling does set this apart from the Pilot on which it is based, here in the profile you still see a lot of that Honda Pilot DNA baked into this vehicle. You do get some rugged black fender flares here, and on this HPD, Honda Performance Development version, you get the bronze wheels wrapped in 18-inch Firestone all-terrain tires. Makes for a very nice look that contrasts very nicely with this dark red paint job. This is, like I said, based on the Pilot SUV, so it is not your traditional pickup truck, but for the new body style, Honda did build in some separation between the bed and the cab on this one to give a little more flex when there is payload back here in the bed. Speaking of the bed, it's got a nice usable bed for what most urbanites are going to need. This is actually the vehicle that really started the trend that now Hyundai and Ford have famously picked up on with their Santa Cruz and Maverick, respectively. Moving back here to the back, you get more black plastic in your bumper, but you do get dual exhaust sitting out here back in the back. And with tailgate wars in full force, not only does Honda give you a regularly dropping tailgate that unfortunately is not the lightest of the bunch, but they give you a swing open tailgate as well. This really comes in handy when you want to access another trick feature of the bed on this Ridgeline, because this truck actually has a trunk. This deep well is actually big enough to fill up and use as an ice cooler, and there is a drain plug down in the bottom as well. Overall payload on this vehicle tops out at just over 1,500 pounds, so while you aren't going to be doing any major work with this vehicle, it is enough for your trip to the nursery or to Lowe's or Home Depot to get some stuff to do some mild work around the house. This isn't your farm truck, but will get a lot of work done for most of the people who think they need a full-size truck. Moving inside, this actually has Honda's smart key system in it that allows you to lock and unlock from the outside, but has a relatively plain interior, nothing just to write home about in this one. And this too is where you can see the influence of the Pilot on which it is based. It does have a push button start here that I am actually going to get going because it is quite warm here in the middle of June in East Texas. So you do get analog tachometer and fuel and temperature gauge with a large, and I mean large, digital speedometer up top there over your small driver information center. Does a good job and lets you know the information at hand. You can see that we are averaging just over 18 mpg, so not the most fuel efficient vehicle ever, but when you're talking about pickup trucks, this is right in line with some of the competition. Steering wheel controls help you control the driver information screen up there, as well as your phone, and then your cruise control, as well as some other systems throughout the vehicle. You do get paddle shifters for that 9-speed automatic transmission, though I really don't see you using paddle shifters in a pickup truck, and that's regardless of how you truly view this vehicle. The Pilot DNA continues with the center stack, the rearward canted color touchscreen with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. It is a wired system, but does very good. Down here you get your climate controls. Again, there is a rear control button, and the only rear air vents are on the back of the center console. Moving down, you get a nice storage tray here, USB input for that wired infotainment system, and then you get push button controls for your transmission. So you actually have to pull back for reverse, which actuates the backup camera, which is actually a relatively decent projection of what is back behind you. Not too grainy. We have definitely seen worse for much newer and more up-to-date vehicles. Neutral is also a button, as is the drive button here. Then you get an off-road button that goes between normal, snow, mud, and sand. And you have a button here to disable the automatic start-stop. Couple cup holders here, and you get the retractable shade covering the center console. Because that is so low, both the driver and front passenger do get fold-down center armrests. And then coming up top, just another example that this used to be a a Pilot's interior. You get your sunglass holder that also doubles as a mirror, but because this is a pickup truck, Honda doesn't give you a mirror. Apparently they don't think anybody's going to be riding behind you, even though you have a crew cab. Sitting behind myself in the back seat, you actually sit up and above the driver, so you get a real stadium style seat. So I am sitting much higher back here than I was up front, and I can get a clear view over the driver's headrests. It's almost embarrassing how much taller I am than this driver's seat, but this does have a manual raise and lower feature. Sitting back here, these seats are firm but very supportive and not uncomfortable. Sitting behind myself at 5'10", my knees are almost touching the seat in front of me, but this would make for a very comfortable cab. Honestly, one of the more roomy entries into this mid-size pickup truck segment. Another neat feature of this particular model is the 60/40 split bench. So you can actually lift the seat bottom with the handle here on the side, and the legs actually retract up into the bottom of the seat, giving you a fairly flat load floor all the way across. And then to put it back down, you just drop that handle and there you go. Moving on to the inside, I do want to show you what rear accommodations look like. First, there is that handle. I'll give you one more quick demonstration. Lift that up, and hard to do one-handed, but the footrest or the bottom rest leg support does retract up underneath the seat here, and you can see the track in which that connects. The other side is still there in place, just giving you a little more support for heavier occupants back in the back. And then there are your rear air vents. There are no controls back here, just 2 air vents on the back of the center console. Dropping this seat back down, You can see very nice, comfortable seating back here, and you do get a pull-down center armrest with 2 cup holders, a little bit of storage here, and a pop-up center rear headrest. If you want to see what it's like to put a car seat in the back of this mid-size pickup truck, be sure and subscribe and stay tuned for our family review, where I will do a full install on that car seat myself. All right, driving the Honda Ridgeline, there's really nothing just remarkable about it. It's just a really easy to use vehicle. In fact, this HPD version is based off of the base model Sport. So there really is nothing too special about the interior of this one either. It doesn't even have a leather wrapped steering wheel. But what is super special about this one are those bronze wheels I showed you outside and those Firestone tires wrapped around them, making this one truly something special if you want to get out and get a little bit dirty. Putting this into sand mode changes some of the driving dynamics that we're going to test out now as we get out onto some very loose sand. And you can see this thing does a good job maintaining speed and not getting bogged down in this super slick, loose sand. Does pretty good for what is not a body-on-frame pickup truck, and keeps you calm and composed as you traverse down the trail. This vehicle is good enough to get you to any campsite that you would want to traverse to, as long as it's not something maybe that requires some rock climbing off in Moab. Yes, for not being a real truck, this can definitely do trucky things. And I know most people have varying definitions of what a truck is and what truck things are, but the fact that I am able to very easily plow through that deep sand there without worrying about getting stuck whatsoever just proves what Honda was able to do with the engineering of this vehicle. It is still very capable and very comfortable here on this non-paved segment of the test, because I am able to slip and slide around just fine, but still maintain my desired direction very easily and competently. However, this one is probably going to spend a majority of its life driving around on the road, and for that, this is actually a very comfortable entry into the midsize pickup truck segment. We have tested the Ford Ranger and the Toyota Tacoma both head-to-head, and we have also tested the Nissan Frontier. All 3 of those were very good pickup trucks, and all 3 of those we did extensive off-road testing with. This one, we're going to spend a little bit more time on-road and just see how those pilot routes of this vehicle translate into daily livability, because this really is the natural habitat of the Honda Ridgeline, though it is capable of much more. That 3.5 liter V6 under the hood has plenty of power to get this vehicle up and going, and the 9-speed automatic transmission is never really hunting for the right gear. It is actually paired together very well and does not really leave you wanting. It's just what you would expect from a Honda, a really competent, really capable family vehicle. And that's really what this is. This is the family vehicle for the family who would rather sacrifice that 3rd row of seats for a space to haul some of their dirtier items, whether it be camping gear from going out and camping, or fishing gear from a fishing trip, or even a trip to Lowe's or your local nursery and back to get plants for the garden. this really is a usable 5-seat vehicle. And the seat comfort in this is actually really good. I mentioned how much lower I'm sitting, than the rear seat, but this does have a manual crank to raise and lower the ride height of the driver's seat. And all that is manual because, again, this is based off of the base model Sport trim. So there aren't many luxuries and amenities in this particular one, and that's okay because it's a pickup truck. You want it just to be able to do what it needs to do, and that's throw stuff in the back and get some work done. And with that nifty trick trunk back there in the back, you can even keep stuff safely locked and secured back in the bed of this truck without anyone even noticing and without the need of a tonneau cover. I don't know how much you can tell from what the microphones are picking up. I am on textured pavement, but the ride of this vehicle is very smooth and relatively quiet, textured pavement notwithstanding. That, fortunately, is about to change right now. And you can see here on much smoother pavement just how quiet this ride is in this Honda Ridgeline. Speaking of fuel economy, we've put some hard miles on this in that we've left it idling a whole lot more than perhaps some other vehicles just because the temperatures are starting to warm up here in June in East Texas. We are actually finally seeing triple-digit temperatures and are having to deal with that accordingly. So as we're getting the camera equipment set up, this vehicle is left idling. But we have seen on extended road trips this getting over 20 mpg on longer trips. So again, definitely on the more fuel efficient side for the segment. So acceleration in this, I'm going to turn Econ off and it's not bad. It gets this big vehicle moving with ease, but at higher speeds, the truckiness of this vehicle does come into play. Real world U-turn test, I'm essentially on a 4-lane wide road right here. I'm going to do a full lock U-turn and see just how tight this thing can go, and that is 3 lanes over. So rather impressive for a mid-sized pickup truck. Actually very impressive when I think about some of the other vehicles that take much more than that to make a U-turn. The Honda Pilot bones of this mean the ride quality is very good. This has not leaf springs in the back like most pickup trucks, but coil springs, which are becoming more and more popular in full-size pickups for their comfort and ride quality, and that is absolutely true here in this mid-size Honda Ridgeline. The ride comfort is as you would expect from a 3-row SUV or anything that is not a full-fledged pickup truck. So in that, is this or isn't this a pickup truck? Getting in here behind the wheel, it isn't. And that's a good thing. All told, this sport model with the HPD package at $40,000 may be priced just a little too much for my liking, but there is a lot here to like, and this vehicle would make a lot of families happy, especially if you are familiar and appreciative of the Honda brand. This gives you pretty much everything that this H logo promises. Good reliability for years and years to come, and a very competent powertrain with a truck bed back in the back to help you do any and all work you would deem necessary for your family. This really is a good package all the way around. So, final thoughts on the Honda Ridgeline. While we have long joked about whether or not this is a real pickup truck here on the channel, you really need to look no further than its overall capabilities and the fact that it does have a usable bed with many trick features back here. Regardless of how you feel about it, it is a very competent vehicle outright. From its comfortable ride, relatively fuel-efficient 3.5 liter V6, and attractive starting price for a large vehicle of this nature, the Honda Ridgeline is nothing to sneeze at, no matter what reviewers like yours truly or others might say. This really has been a fun vehicle to have for a week here on the channel. If you want to see what my family thinks of it, be sure and hit that subscribe button down below and ring the bell so that you're notified when our family review drops later this week. Until next time, gearheads, bye. Starting under the hood of this Honda Ridgeline, we get Honda's 3.5 liter V6 that, is mounted with, that was bad. That was bad, don't use that. Oh, this is gonna end very poorly.